your hair's fucked up.
And go.
Hey, welcome to Glitch Please.
Do I look all right to start the show? Oh, hell no.
No.
Well, we're going.
You're live. I'm Ashley Jenkins.
I'm Gus.
I'm Mika.
I'm Ryan.
And I want to thank our sponsor for today's episode of Glitch Please, MeUndies, one of my favorite sponsors for our shows, mostly because it means we get an underwear fairy, but we'll talk about that later.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Pet the MeUndies.
It's gone now.
It's gone. But
it's there in spirit.
It's fine. It's always awkward. So we're going to talk about a bunch of stuff today. We're back from E3, first and foremost, so we're back to our set, which is very
We're
exciting.
Carboni free.
Carboni free. Whew, that was a close one, but we survived. Man, I love Carboni.
He's awesome.
He is
I feel like we
goddamn
don't have
delight.
a loud enough shirt on
Yeah.
the set.
Oh shit, we
Can we
failed
have
him.
like a Carboni shrine
Oh
where
my
we just
God,
put up a really horrible shirt in the background?
The colors of our set.
Oh, there you go.
or the
What
Carboni shrine.
What if we just get a creepy dummy in the background of every single
What are you saying
episode?
about him?
God.
Carboni, you're a creepy dummy, according to Ashley, is all I heard here.
Harsh.
So aside from mourning the loss of Carboni, well, we're going to run through some of the news that's happened. I'd actually like to take a second now that we have all mostly recovered from E3. I apologize, by the way, to our audio listeners for my voice. I am still recovering from E3. But I do want to talk a little bit about something that struck me about E3 this year because it was different. It was open to the public. And now I'm wondering who E3 is for, but we'll get to that. And also, last week, ARMS came out, so we can talk about that too. First, though, before we
Just
get...
pops in the shot. No, go back to the other one.
Boop. It's like you're punching Mika.
Boop.
It works. It works.
Boop.
Oh, that was
Perfect,
good.
that was really good.
Good timing.
All right, so first, though, before we get into all that, what have you guys been playing? What are you up to?
Battlegrounds.
Yeah, you have
No,
been.
have you
I've got a problem.
You've been running the custom server, though, right?
Yeah, Adam Baird ran it last night, but yeah,
I saw that.
I'd been running it a little bit. I finally won a game, solo.
Congratulations!
Yeah.
That's a big moment.
I was trying to download the file, but it's taking too long, so I don't have it.
Well,
I captured it.
maybe we'll chuck it over this in post. How do
Was
you feel
it?
about that?
All right. So, what was your last moments like? Was it intense, or was it one of those that just they died outside?
No. It was really intense, but it was the situation where nobody knew where I was because I wasn't shooting, so everybody else was kind of engaging each other. So I just had to swoop in and kill who ended up being number 3 and number 2.
Oh, you got both of them?
Yeah, because they were faced off against each other. I picked one off, then had to turn and get the other.
Oh, and they had no clue you were there, so you were just stealth guys.
But they'd been doing your job for you by whittling away each other's.
They've been willing at each other, and they were stupid. They were kind of randomly, wildly throwing grenades at each other. So I had an idea where more or less they were, and where more or less because of like the origin of the grenade and the just like where it ended up blowing up.
Right.
So like I knew it was like, okay, one's more or less here and one's more or less there. So just like take one to get the other.
Do you think they were too focused on each other to realize, oh, there's another player that may be
Right.
stalking us right now?
Right. So I really lucked out.
When you get down to 3 in the small circle, you just
it.
gotta. I mean, if you see somebody, that fight's gonna happen.
Yeah, I think one of the best parts about E3 actually was that custom server that we had
was neat.
during the gap between the press conferences. That was a good time. Some of those custom game types were ridiculous.
Punch only.
I loved Punch Only.
Punch only was the best.
I also loved Punch Only or Melee Only when we accidentally set the circle to.
It was too fast.
When it decreased 4 times the.
I
speed
think
of
5 was
normal.
too fast.
5 was
When then
pretty
everyone
crazy.
just spent the entire match running
Just
for their damn
dashing,
lives.
and then they end up in this teeny tiny circle just
Going
jumping
at
out.
each other.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good game.
It was good.
I've been, I was laid up sick over the weekend to the point where I played very little. I played a little bit of ARMS, but mostly I had the power to Netflix, where you just like put something on the screen and then lay back and then just let yourself be taken away.
Vegetate.
So, yeah, no, I watched the entire new season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Oh, nice.
How was it?
Ghost Rider was a thing,
All
but
right.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. does a really cool thing that I quite like where, so it's a 22-episode season, but instead of having one story arc for all 22 episodes, they have these mini story arcs. So they'll do one thing and they'll basically resolve it and then move on to another arc, resolve it, and then move on to another one. And then they all kind of tie together at the very end, but that it doesn't feel like they're just drawing one thing out
It's
for
more like
22 episodes.
Comic book arcs where you just have a
Yeah.
couple issues and then something happens.
Yeah, so really liked that for what I was conscious of.
For what you were conscious of.
Yeah.
Poor sick Ashley. Poor sick Ashley.
Mika, what you been putting in nature's pocket?
First of all,
First of all, we have discovered that I was
We?
talking about a different Nature's Pocket than everybody thought I was talking about.
So, Miko, what did you think that Nature's Pocket was?
I've always referred to Nature's Pocket as the phenomenon that I can put stuff in my cleavage. Apparently, Nature's Pocket is universally known as the cooter.
The cooter.
It goes.
I think
it's,
dudes
it's like
can get away with the nature's pocket too. It's just up the.
it's just a little different
pooter.
pocket. It's
Pooter.
And the pooter, yeah.
What are we doing?
You guys got 2 pockets, and we just got the 1.
maybe,
I guess you could maybe roll something up real tight, and
Oh God.
anyway,
maybe we should move on to the news.
nature's snake hole.
I love this guy. I love that guy.
That guy
You
was
love that guy, really?
I thought that guy was amazing.
Okay.
Anyway,
That was what was that name of that game? That's the one I always kept forgetting.
It was the not Overwatch one.
Yeah, it was like a kind of MOBA wannabe.
All I remember is the character became cloaked and then just killed everyone
Yeah.
because no one could see them.
Also
Alright.
the Shoutcaster.
Anyway, that game.
And then the guy shoutcast.
Yeah.
no, he's great. Although I think my favorite person of E3, of the entire show, was actually the guy who worked on Mario plus Rabbids, who was like crying in the audience because Miyamoto told him he did a good job.
Best moment of the show.
It was
easily.
just like, oh.
I mean, wouldn't you cry if Miyamoto told you did a good job
On a
too?
Mario game.
Yeah.
I'm crying right now just picturing it.
How it must feel to be that guy.
But someone else has ample reason to be proud because someone has finally beat the game Threes.
Oh, I saw that. I was really excited to see
You
that.
played Threes,
Yeah, I did
right?
play Threes.
Yeah, so Threes, for those who never played it, aren't familiar with it, it's a number matching game.
It's like
Really quite
2048.
simple.
Yeah,
Which is
that's
also popular.
2048.
See, that's what I thought it was when I heard the description.
Well, I
of
think
it.
You match two numbers that are next to each
I
other.
think Threes was the original one. It was, and it was a paid
2048
game, so
was
someone
over.
made 2048. That's
Which
like
was
the
Yeah.
a free
last
game.
game.
Okay.
Well, I think it also might have been an iOS Android thing initially.
Okay.
But anyway, this game's been out for 3.33 years,
Ooh.
and someone has beat Threes now.
What auspicious timing.
Yeah, it's kind of
I feel like
weird.
the spell
Feel
was
like they
broken
sat
or
on it,
something.
maybe?
Yeah.
It might have been, but yeah. So someone finally matched up. The way you play it is you have to match like a 3 with a 3.
We learned that Threes has an ending as well.
Right.
Nobody knew.
No one knew that it had an ending. But so you match 2 3s, they become a 6, and then you have to match that with a 6, and then the numbers will progressively get higher. So the challenge comes in because you can easily fill your board with a bunch of high numbers, and then it's really difficult to get the cards that you have to match to add up to those numbers and so on. So if someone finally got it to 1,594,458, and it triggered an end game screen, like a you beat the game, congratulations screen. This is awesome.
I think I've never like reached above 300 or something, so this is impressive to me.
Right, yeah, the fact that anytime I'd reach triple digits, I'd be like, yeah, good job, me.
Right?
So
They reached 7 digits.
this is something else. But the other impressive thing about this is if you look at the screen, their whole board isn't filled up.
Right.
They just had the one insane number, and everything else is like, yeah, we're cool.
Yeah, it must be. I obviously I don't know that kind of strategy. I'm like you. It's like
Yeah.
I never got very far in that game. So obviously what I was doing was wrong.
I always thought my strategy was like move it to the bottom right corner, and I was like, yeah, I'm doing so well. No, apparently not. Apparently the top left.
Guess
That's where
so.
you gotta go.
The exact opposite. Everything you believed was wrong.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Live with
par
it.
for the course.
Deal with it.
Shout out to those guys though. That's pretty radical.
How long was that gameplay?
Honestly, I'm not even sure.
It's got to be hours, right?
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like, easily,
absolutely.
easily.
Absolutely. I mean, think about how long it takes to get into the triple digits.
Right.
This could be a game that's been going on for weeks.
I
Just
hope you
never
can
closes
pause.
out the app.
Can you just leave it open?
I mean,
I never played the Threes.
if you have like apps running, and if it's on the phone, right? It's a phone app. If you just
Yeah,
never
although
close
it is now available, I think it's available on consoles and stuff as well.
Oh, what?
Yeah, Ben, do you want to look up and
Looking
make
it
sure
up
it's
now.
available on platforms? Like, I'm pretty sure I've seen it on Steam or something before. I may have seen it on the Xbox Marketplace. So it's available elsewhere now, but it's definitely started on mobile, and mobile
it's been
is
beaten.
where they beat it.
I mean, it's still late now. Someone's
Ryan's like,
beaten
it's dead to
Where's
me
the
now. Who
challenge?
cares?
Party's over.
Yeah.
It's
Why
available on
bother?
iOS, Android, Xbox One, and Windows Phone.
Okay.
So Xbox
All right.
One.
Xbox One. So Xbox
Today I
Store
learned
is where I
Windows
saw
Phone
it.
still exists.
Well, you know, you can't discount that 2% market share or whatever.
You're being very kind.
You are.
You know, honestly though, I loved my Windows Phone.
Yeah.
You used to have one?
Yeah, I had one. Well, I mean, I worked for Microsoft, so you'd get in trouble if you didn't
Legally
have.
required to learn.
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't get like in trouble, but they'd be like, What's that you got?
So-
And then they'd make fun of you. But then they gave me Windows Phone for free, so I'd be like, this is cool.
Was it the colorful one with like the blocks that you could program?
Yeah,
and stuff?
so that was when Windows Phone 7
Tiles.
came out. I got one of those for free. Hey,
Get it right.
you know, free work phone.
Yeah.
I'm not going to complain too much. And I did like that you could get gamer score on it. I quite like the operating system, especially because they've ironed out a few of the more annoying things, like that you can't change your. You couldn't initially change your live ID without wiping the phone. So they've fixed a lot about it. It just never caught on, which is a real shame because I like the way that it works.
As of February this year, 99.6% of new smartphones run Android or iOS.
So it's 0.4%.
And that
were
doesn't-
very
but
generous.
It's sharing it with
Wow.
BlackBerry, I want to point out.
Oh, no.
People still have Blackberries?
Oh yeah.
Well, they went out
Look,
of
some
business.
people.
I saw one like 3 days ago.
Whoa, you saw one in the wild?
Man, some people with their Blackberries though, they've got the typing down, and they can type very fast on that.
What next? A Palm Pilot? Are those coming back?
They might.
They might be part
The,
of the 0.4%.
Q4 2016 market share for Windows Phone was 0.3%.
So if you ever wonder why games or apps don't come to the Windows Phone, that's probably why.
why.
Fortunately, 99.6% of smartphone users have access to Pokemon Go still.
Oh my goodness, what a lovely segue.
Thank you. So, big update just came out for Pokemon Go. I know, contain your excitement, contain it. They added raids.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I'm not joking.
Yeah, it's Onyxia. It's going to be a 40-man.
So,
No World of Warcraft players? Am I alone up here?
You're alone.
I mean,
bend over there. Yeah.
initially I was like, what?
Oryx, like if you made a
get it,
Destiny
maybe.
joke or.
No, that's 6. I'm talking 40.
Oh, thank God.
Oh, right, sorry, my bad.
I think there's nothing better could come to a Pokemon game than just a can full of insecticide. So I think that'll take care of all.
Oh,
very good.
Ryan.
Ryan.
But they're so cute with your lady doodles.
I just get to walk around spraying them down, right? And then,
so-
they die, and I exterminate everything in the area, and then no one can gather Pokemon there. It's like getting them off
Ryan,
my lawn. Like
I
there's
feel like-
Pokemon's in my yard.
Ryan, I feel like you're just trying to be
Heartbreaking.
evil and killer at this point.
Is that an option in this game? Can I trap them in a Pokeball and just drop the ball off a cliff?
You can beat them up,
I can?
sure, or you can trade them for candy.
Yeah.
Not real candy.
Not
This
really.
got worse. I'm just gonna kill them. You're gonna traffic them.
I'm a strong believer in Pokemon trafficking.
That being
Also,
said, my
killing
kids
doesn't
are-
have a profit. Trafficking does.
That's fair. My kids are doing this basically in the house already, so maybe I should hook. No, I don't want to make them more digital already. They're already attached to their fucking tablets.
Yeah, but just think about how the kind of bonding that you'll be able to do with them. You'll be able to go on a 20-man raid. You can hook up
Oh,
with
it's
all of the other
20
little kids.
people?
Yeah, it's 20 people. There's
What is it?
20-man raids. Okay.
What does
so
it
be in
mean?
person?
How does this work?
Okay, I get the feeling. So I only open Pokemon Go every now and again. I keep getting these notifications on my phone like, hey, it's the springtime and we're gonna get the grass types and the flower types are all out. And so I'll open it and go, yeah, nothing near me though, and I'll close it. But I think that the people who've been playing it loyally all this time, at this point, if they control a gym, they're unstoppable. There's some level 50 son of a bitch with like some crazy ass on steroids Pokemon just like sitting at the top there going, huh. And if you don't own a gym and you're not playing every day, you have no chance
You take out Roy to chew.
until, yeah, Roy to Chew is gonna take you out. But can he take out you and your 19 friends?
Is it Roy to chew, Shrink-a-Dink?
Yeah.
What else?
Wet towel.
No, keep going,
wet
keep
towel,
going.
Ass acne.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ew,
Yeah,
gross.
What other symptoms of roids?
So basically
shrunken
what's
testes.
happened
There you go.
is yeah, so
Outlandish
it's
rage.
20 friends. There's a new gym badge for taking a gym with a raid, and it has like raid specific like stuff that you can get. I don't know. I'm
Question.
interested to try it out. Here's the problem. I don't know 20 people who are still playing who are
Yeah.
also on yellow team who I can go raiding
If
with.
I and my 20 friends come rough your gym up, who gets to keep it?
Presumably whoever's got the toughest motherfucker.
It's not like a shared thing?
I haven't
It sounds
actually
like
managed to go
Roy
on a
to chew
raid
may
yet.
just flip that on you and come right back for his stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the Niantic's update was a little bit vague in that regard.
Okay.
So I'm not sure what it comes down to. I think potentially what happens is you end up knocking out, like you knock out the leader, you take the gym, and then anyone in your team can put Pokemon in the gym. Like
You have to IRL fist fight each other
Yes.
for the gym.
We have like a
Pretty-
meter
pretty
group.
much.
And you just start knocking phones out of people's hands.
But can you imagine, like, now you're gonna see people like roaming in packs with their phones and be like, we're on a raid.
I feel like this is the start of some kind of millennial musical where there's just two groups. Yeah, exactly. And they're meeting with their phones. Only they're not snapping. They're just hitting the button that's making a snapping sound on the phone.
No, they're
There's a snap
Snapchatting.
app.
That's how
They're
they're
literally snapping.
Yeah.
When you're a blue, you're a blue.
Oh, all right. Well, that's the future. Great. What's
Oh,
next?
Ryan.
Well, what's next? Star Wars.
Okay, now I'm reinvested.
Okay, cool.
That was quick.
So, Star Wars, the visceral Star Wars project, skipped E3 again. Heard nothing about it. This is the one that's snapped up a ton of talent. Amy Hennig, who previously worked on Uncharted, is working on it. They've now got Jade Raymond, who was heading up Ubisoft Toronto. I think it was Toronto, and she worked on Assassin's Creed before that. And they've just black holed a bunch of talent. There's just this black hole in the universe where no information is coming out, except
Star Wars.
except for some leaks, potentially. So according to some new potential leaks, and the credibility here is questionable. I personally hope they're not that credible, because apparently Project Ragtag features a plucky, roguish lead named Dodger from Alderaan on the run to get his name off the Alderaan survivors list. More on that in a minute.
Interesting.
By working for Jabba the Hutt on Tatooine.
Well, that's real Nazi looking.
Yeah.
Also, apparently, there's an Alderaan survivors list. Can we just back up and talk about this for
That's
a second?
super
Why did they make
Nazi-ish.
a list? First of all,
Well, I mean, that makes sense. That makes sense.
No, the First Order was
but
kind
they
of
didn't-
Nazi-ish.
Yeah.
oh, the Nazi stuff? Yeah.
Also, like a
Well,
survivors
yeah.
list that they're rounding
Oh,
up.
gotcha.
Well,
I mean,
it's
the-
kind
on the
of.
other hand,
getting a
though,
little Nazi.
the point of blowing up Alderaan wasn't to destroy every Alderaanian ever.
Exactly.
It was
Right.
just to say, we can blow up your planet. Don't
Yeah.
fuck with us. It actually behooves them to have survivors out there with no home planet to go to.
I mean-
So I don't know where the survivors list comes from. I don't really like it.
I kind of took that a different way. That to me, it makes sense if you were a survivor, like a community of people who were Alderaanians,
Yeah.
Alderanians,
There you go.
I could see them in a post-Alderaan destroyed world forming this list of just like who made it, like who's still alive, who from my
Yeah, but
my
this
home
guy
is
wants
still
off
alive.
it, which
Yeah.
makes it sound
It's
like
because
this
they're
is
being
from the
hunted.
He's
government.
trying to get
Yeah.
himself fucking waxed, is what
Yeah.
it sounds like to me.
And then, so the game supposedly takes place between A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back. And Dodger comes into some information about some terrifying truth about the Empire and then has to confront it head on. What do you want to bet it's about another goddamn Death Star?
I mean, it's always about Death Star.
It's always about a fucking Death Star.
Maybe it had something else. Maybe like they had like a couple,
What, that they were bad guys? They blew up his
Thing-
planet.
irons in the fire. They had a couple
Maybe.
different things that we're working on. Maybe Death Star 2 was like the beta plan. The alpha plan was like,
Death Star 1.
Death Star 1?
well, okay. maybe Death Star 2 was like the Charlie plan, and like the, I don't know, like Planet Super Soaker was like number 2.
Starkiller Base.
There you go.
I think that the reason that there's a survivor list is because the second Death Star is for people, and it only Death Stars people. So it's like a little laser beam, but it's in space.
Right.
So that's why they have a list, and that's what the major plan is. I've cracked the code.
They shoot lasers in every direction.
And if you wear tinfoil on your head, the lasers can't track you.
That's good.
I think we've
Laser
definitely figured out the
beams
whole.
can't melt tinfoil.
It's just science.
But can jet fuel melt steel beams?
Oh, very good.
Here's the thing. The
Ancient
Empire was
memes.
all about bureaucracy, right? And if they're going to destroy a planet, they're going to make sure they do it right. They got a list, and they got to make sure it's just a paperwork thing. They've got to clean the table off. All those Alderanians need to go because they blew up the planet. That's what the paperwork says. Alderaan dead. All Alderaan's dead.
I
Gotcha.
Alderaan.
I think
Alderanians.
the reason
Duran?
that I'm a little bit
Also them.
meh about this and why I hope that it's not the game we end up with is because it feels like, one, it's again just connecting dots between existing story rather than branching out. I'd really like to see a game with the kind of talent on it that it has go out and explore more of the universe. I mean, is Star Wars the expanded universe or the extended universe?
I think it's extended.
No, it's
expanded?
Isn't it something else? It's
put
Legends. Is that it?
Oh, well, Legends is what was the expanded
Okay.
universe, and then that's what they all chucked out. So they chucked all that out, but everything new that they
Expanded
create,
universe.
expanded universe. Okay, I always fuck that up. But this is like their opportunity to start adding into the canon again.
I want
In a way that's not just connect the dots in between the linear in the story that we already know. It could add to the universe.
I'm going to pitch you a game.
Okay.
Star
do
Wars
it.
game.
Okay. do this.
It's kind of like City Skyline, where you have to build a factory on Camino to make clones, and you have to manage your clone production and your different resources to produce the proper number of clones for
An
to fulfill
optimal
your
level. If you
contract.
don't put enough resources in, you get kind of like stupid clones that are just like bubbling around.
or you
And
don't
then,
get
and then
you
suddenly
don't
they
get-
just can't aim.
Oh,
See?
there we go.
See, there you go.
You can have that one for $100,000.
You know, it's
Don't
funny
sell yourself
though,
short, Gus.
when I worked at Ubisoft, there was a DS game. It was Star Wars. It started some Twilight, and I was working on the marketing team, and we pitched an idea that we thought would never get approved by Lucas. We wanted to make a Death Star generator. So we let people like build their own Death Star, and they would have like a certain number of points, and that they could allocate to like different things. And if they wanted to get really crazy, like they could put a theme park on there, and there was a Ferris wheel on the outside of the roller coaster, or on the outside of the Death Star. We thought that would never get through. They totally approved it, and it was awesome. And I have no idea where it is now. It went out on the internet, and everyone made their Death Stars with their Ferris wheels and their roller coasters and all their. You could paint it in different colors.
So Death Star Tycoon. Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
It was just a stupid little mini game, and it was awesome. I have no idea how we ever got it approved. I don't know who said yes to that. Someone was sleeping at the approvals desk that day, and I'm so grateful because it was a lot of fun.
I'm trying to find it.
Surely it's an app somewhere out there now. Star Wars games can be fun. It all comes down to.
Wasn't there a Star Wars Tiny Towers?
Was there?
I think you're right.
It's really just going to come down less about the story, but make a game that looks enjoyable to play. I personally, I don't want to go back to Tatooine that much.
Right. I want to
Such
I want to go to
boring
a new
place.
planet. I want to go
Tiny
somewhere
Death Star.
new. Tiny Death
Tiny
Star.
Tiny Death Star. Oh yeah, that's okay. This one is for mobile.
I want to name it. I want to nurture it. I want to
And
take
yeah,
care
so it's
of
Tiny
it.
Tower. Okay, cool.
Surely they've made like a drone
I think that
A drone Death Star.
that can.
Did Tiny
the fan
Death Star
situation
get
might be
taken
weird.
off
but
the
but
App
then
Store though? I think
you
it
They've
might
got
have.
a
grow it
Millennium
up
Falcon.
to be
Yes.
like a
Yeah,
big
okay.
Death Star. Like if
Oh,
you
I
take
see.
care
So
of
if anyone
it.
has Tiny
Drones.
Death Star, please
Doesn't
send
matter
to
how
me
much
because I
electricity
never
they
got to
use.
play it.
But I wanted to kill things.
I mean, we could weaponize one.
Okay.
I don't know what's going on over there.
Maybe put like a dart
I
I feel like
launcher.
there's a side
That'd be really
conversation.
low.
Let's move on.
Okay.
Okay. Anthem is going to be a 10-year journey.
Ah!
Does that sound familiar at all in any way? So EA is saying that Anthem is the start of a 10-year journey, which is,
Sure it is.
almost like word for word the exact
Sure,
same
Dan.
thing that Activision said about Destiny before it launched. And it's not like this is the first comparison to Bungie New Baby. It was like going to be like a revolutionary online action game. It's going to do stuff never before seen in the genre. Does that sound familiar? Because that describes both games.
It also kind of looks like, Destiny.
It
does.
there's.
Yeah.
And also,
They didn't show any space
and
in it.
also, when you make that kind of statement, it introduces a lot of confusion. It did for Destiny as well, because a lot of people, when they said 10 years, thought that meant Destiny. The first
Destiny
game
OG
would
one,
be
yeah.
would
No
be
sequel.
there and supported for 10 years. It doesn't. It means they see it as a 10-year franchise.
Right. It's a universe.
Right. So they see it as, they will have 10 years worth of games.
What a weird statement to make in general, though. It's like, we get it. Like, as a developer, you want your game to last, right? You want it to have some legs and keep going. You want to make more in the series. But why would you just? Okay, why put a number at it at all? It's like we're going to make a series that will stand for time. Not
don't
just
know
like
that.
it will last 10 years.
Yeah.
On the 10th year, shut it down.
Burn it all.
I mean,
We're done with it.
Maybe they're trying to just give that impression of longevity, and they're trying to like put a number on their investment so that people are like, okay, well, they believe in this, they're all in on this for a decade. That's a long time to support something. That's a big plan. They're obviously backing it. That I can understand and support, but
I mean, if they're not even willing to back it for longer than a 10th of a century.
I feel like they could suffer from the overhyping or hyping too soon or promising too much that a lot of games and developers are suffering from these days by saying 10 years, guarantee you're going to have us for that long. It's like, what if it launches and it sucks?
Well, it's a little bit for me like Final Fantasy 13. It came out, no one liked it, and they said, we're doing 2 more, guys.
And everyone's like, we didn't ask for this.
It actually sold very well.
Yeah.
Sold very well, which I'm sorry. I apologize. I'm part of the problem
A lot of people begrudgingly playing it.
Yeah,
Got nothing else.
Right. How
I
dare
played
you?
it, and then I was disappointed, and I kept playing it because by that point I was like, well, I'm in it. Let's finish the fight.
Like Andromeda.
No, haven't finished that.
Sorry,
one.
that was triggering
No,
you.
I have not finished
HD
that
wrinkle
one.
lines.
That's some trilinear
HD
bump mapping.
By the way,
HD
this is definitely they just made a set out of the scene from
Are you, it's
the new
up
Star
on the
Wars movie,
screen.
right? Where they're just out there in the
Oh
fucking
yeah.
yeah.
I got that vibe.
market.
Tatooine market.
So
It's Tatooine again, isn't it?
it's
Tatooine
everything.
again.
She's on Tatooine.
Everything is
leads
Tatooine.
back to Tatooine.
Jakku.
Jakku, that's it.
The
Why does
other
everyone
desert
go back to
planet.
Jakku?
Why? Jakku is just another Tatooine. It's a fucking desert planet.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
It might as well be the other side.
But does it have womp rats?
Probably.
Sand people?
It had the guy riding around on the mecha horse thing that's like, he doesn't respect anybody.
Yeah, but mecha horses, I mean, if you got a mecha horse, why would you respect anyone else?
It's true. You're kind of better than everybody else.
I mean, he was also trying to take a droid, which is...
But a cute droid he would probably be best friends with. And by best friends, I mean scrap for money.
I feel like he would have sold him
Yeah,
for the
yeah,
600
yeah.
portions or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm very curious. I actually am interested to see more about Anthem. It sounds like they're pushing tech, they're pushing hardware. They put their A-team on it. They sacrificed Mass Effect to the gods of Anthem.
It better be good
It better
for
be
that
good.
reason
Yeah.
alone.
It better be good. So I'm interested, but I'm very curious that they seem to be following, at the moment at least, the very well-treaded PR path of Destiny, which Destiny's been a huge success, so maybe that's why they figure if we just hit the same notes, we'll get the same sales. Am I right?
Pretty sure that's
Why
not how
not?
it
It
works.
worked that one time. Lightning's very easy to recapture in a bottle.
Absolutely.
That's what they always say, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the same.
Also, lightning always
that's
strikes
definitely
twice
the
in the
same.
same
Yeah.
spot. Yeah.
In a bottle.
In a bottle, specifically.
That's right in there.
I'm just wondering if they're going to do the stereotypical BioWare romancing options. I'm excited to see if it's also.
I imagine. I mean, I feel like every game now has.
Right. Well, I
They
mean,
need
it's
to
like
break
the
out, though.
BioWare games.
You're
you know?
in
I mean,
space.
every
If
Bioware
you
game,
can't bang everything, why are you
It
banging?
Why are you
looks like there's
playing
a
it?
lot of nature. I feel like there should be a fuck a tree option, right?
No,
Absolutely,
it's
there should
just
be a
the-
fuck a tree option.
Can I put my dick in it option?
Yes, just everything.
Do you just walk up to it and there's just automatically an option that's just.
That would have been a
There's
great
every-
addition to like, do you remember the old Sierra games where you could like smell, lick, just put a dick
Stick a
in?
dick in it.
Stick a dick in it.
And finally, the big news. This has actually happened while we were at E3, but we didn't get a chance to cover it until we got back. Take-Two's declared war on GTA mods.
Yeah.
So it was kind of a progression. So first they shut down Open 4, which is a mod that's been running for like 10 years. It started on GTA 4, more recently GTA 5, and it lets players replace stuff in the single-player game, like scripts or vehicles or models. So you can get all kinds of like crazy havoc. And actually, Rockstar has been pretty supportive of them in the past. They've shared out a lot of the stuff.
Is that our best?
Fuel.
Good job for Hearst. And that's all over now because Rockstar issued a cease and desist, or Take-Two issued a cease and desist against this mod, so they had to take it down. And a bunch of people were really upset about it. They shut down a bunch of other mods as well. And their response when people were really upset was, unfortunately, Open 4 enables recent malicious mods that allow harassment of players and interfere with the GTA Online experience for everybody. We're working to figure out how we can continue to support the creative community without negatively impacting our players. And no one is happy with that response because they figure it's kind of bullshit. And so it's now been review bombed on Steam. It's got an overwhelmingly negative score, which I'm sure Rockstar is just quaking in their boots from all the tens of millions of sales they continue to make. But they did also take down some legitimately malicious stuff. There was Force Hacks, a subscription service that enabled hacks that specifically they were made to imbalance the multiplayer, like to cheat. And they required the the service, the guys running the subscription service to donate all of the funds to charity. So
And
that's
apologize.
cool. And apologize. So that's cool at least. But overall, a lot like mods have kept GTA 4 alive for a very long time. And it's weird for them to disable them now.
Yeah, I saw that people were going after GTA 5 on Steam, giving it negative
Which
reviews
sucks
as a
because
result of that.
It's again, remember, it's a Rockstar game. Take-Two's the publisher.
Right.
Right.
So you're.
So I'm looking at the Steam page for Grand Theft Auto right now, Grand Theft Auto 5.
Oh boy.
And
Overwhelmingly
user reviews recent are overwhelmingly negative, and overall they've moved it to mixed.
Right. So it's
Well-
like but here,
Yeah.
the recent reviews that have taken it to overwhelmingly negative, there are
About 50,000.
50,000 of them.
And their overall reviews are 240,000. So they've
Here's
had
the-
like 20% of them.
What sucks
Jesus.
is, so what happened with this situation, at least as far as I can tell, is if this had happened in a world where microtransactions didn't exist in the multiplayer, people probably would have been a lot more positive about this. It's like, all right, you have nothing to gain from this other than protecting the online community, but that's not the perception that people have. The perception that people have is because you sell shark cards and a lot of these malicious mods are people just handing out free money, you're really protecting your ecosystem, and that's what we don't like.
And you're not being honest about that.
Yeah, I mean that could be part of it too. I mean, I'm a little torn on it. Like there's the multiplayer for people who have to. And this is I come from a skewed perspective because in the industry that I work in, we have to buy money to make content. I mean, we do buy it, like we don't get it, so we have to spend our budget to get the money.
Ron, you
And-
gotta spend money to make money.
Well, you do, and so it's not really a thing for us. It's like, all right, we got to make the video, spend the money. It's not something I have to agonize over because it's company money anyway. But for everybody else, they have to earn that money. They have to actually do things, and it's a slow grind to get a lot of the stuff. Like there's so many new toys that they add to that, and there's not a lot of ways to make good money quickly.
Other than hacking.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you can hack it in or run into a hacker. I mean,
Well, and it's to the point too where people are willing to pay a subscription service to a third party
Right.
to get that leg up.
They'd rather pay like
a lot of
$4 a
that.
month than $100 for virtual currency.
The problem is the same thing that allows that also allows people to really ruin your online experience, though.
Right.
Because the same people that can hack money in can also become invulnerable. They can teleport to your position. They can take control of your character and force it to start doing things you don't want it to do. It opens up a lot of other malicious things.
Sure, blame the takeovers, Ryan, on your terrible, terrible actions.
I mean, look, I choose to do things freely. That's
Can't they also like boot you from the game and like?
I'm not even entirely sure the whole list of things
Yeah.
they can do, but it's a problem, and if you run into that person online, it really makes being online pointless. If that person decides to be malicious. So, how do they shut down one without the other? Maybe if they're like willing to let the money thing go under the table, but how do you selectively get rid of? It's like, all right, we're gonna. And the other thing that I saw kind of a common thread there was they're like, why don't you just fix your broken game? It's like, well, it may be more complicated than that.
Yeah.
They are fixing their broken game. They're shutting down that avenue of
true.
people coming in.
Although it does kind of suck for the single player mods because people were just putting Spider-Man suits on.
Yeah, Funhouse had a bunch of.
Like they had a whole mod.
Like there's an entire
gameplay.
series,
Yeah, of just
based
GTA
on
mods.
Because there are so many ridiculous, fun, loopy mods out there, and it sucks to see a lot of those shut down. Especially, it's kind of weird to shut them down for GTA 4 as well, because it's not like GTA 4 had GTA Online to worry about.
I mean, they shut down the tool. So the tool
was for
that-
both games.
I mean, yeah, I guess it just allowed, things to be added to both. And at this point, they're probably looking at GTA 4, and it's reaching pretty much end of life cycle. I mean, there's still people doing stuff for it, but it's nowhere near what it once was. So it was probably worth the sacrifice to them. They're probably watching that curve of usage on 4 start to tail down. They're like, all right, at this point, we can probably do this and get away with it.
Yeah, I kind of think that it throws into relief the downsides of the GTA setup, of the way they've mixed the single player and the online worlds. If you can't even mod the single player without also then impacting GTA Online, that's a problem.
I mean, that is one of the things I still think is a totally valid complaint about GTA 5. The single player experience is great, it's fun, but the way they've monetized the online experience is very problematic for people that can't afford to invest more money into it because they keep adding a lot of really awesome stuff, but it requires a lot of in-game currency, and it's hard to get.
Yeah, mind you, a shout out to Rockstar in that all of the content updates they've done for GTA Online have been for free.
Yes.
So they've added a ton of stuff to that game
they're paying for it.
without charging for it, and they do fund a lot of that through the microtransactions they have available. So that I understand, and I actually think it's a solid implementation. Like, it's a good way to go about it. I don't like them shutting down the creativity in single player because they can't separate it out from the multiplayer.
I mean, the other side of that too is people going, why don't you just fix this? Why don't you just patch it out and block certain things or whatever you choose to block? And I think the problem that lies there is, just like with any kind of copy protection, you can't stop people from modding things in. The only way, your best option is to go to the people who are putting the mods in and incent them not to do it, rather than just patching out, all right, I'm going to block this, and then they just code around that, and you block this. It's just a never-ending fight.
It's an arms race.
Right.
So paid mods is what Ryan is suggesting, is all I'm hearing.
Paid mods? God, no.
Incentivizing mod creators?
I mean, what they're doing with their online community, as Ashley said, is amazing in that they're giving this stuff away for free, but there's not the community linkage necessarily between how that funding model works, that it's free DLC because it's subsidized by the in-game currency rather than by charging you for, like, the Gunrunner update. That's a huge update. How does that stuff get made? You have to pay people to make that thing. But it's by selling in-game currency. But the two are not so closely linked in how you get the content and how you pay for the content that people feel like they're...
People don't draw the line themselves.
I mean, a lot of people know, but it doesn't feel the same. If you're like, I want that content, I purchase that content, that feels like a direct, I choose to get that content by giving you money. If there's an online ecosystem where it's all driven by money and you've added stuff to the game and I can't get that without grinding out this money in game, though also there's a way I could just shortcut it. That's a very different linkage.
It's kind of like you gave me this content, I can't access it, I feel like I'm owed it.
There.
It's there, it's for me, you put it in front of me, I'm gonna find a way to get it, rather than I want this DLC, so I will take my money, purchase it, and now it is mine.
Yeah. It's rough. I mean, it's a really smart model, but it is also difficult to convince people that that's how it should work.
Yeah.
Yeah. It makes me worry a little bit about what they may have planned for Red Dead Redemption 2.
Yes.
If they're planning on having a single player and a very integrated sort of multiplayer, again, like I like the idea of having weird, crazy mods and everything, and if that's going to be completely shut down. I mean, mind you, they did a great job of doing crazy stuff themselves with Red Dead Redemption, like the Undead Nightmare it remains one of the best, if not the best, DLCs of all time.
Yeah, no, great single-player story expansion, everything. Yeah,
we'll never see another single-player story expansion from a Rockstar game ever again.
Nope.
Yeah, I wish they would at least talk about that little elephant in the room. Like, are they gonna do it ever at any point?
It sounds like GTA
Did they
5
ever
may
for
not.
GTA 5?
No, they've
Not
released
once, right?
no single player
Yeah.
content, no single player like story stuff for GTA 5.
It's just been online for years.
I mean, to be fair, they released a game. All the online stuff has been free, and the GTA 5 story it's big. It has a complete campaign. I mean, it feels like a finished product. I don't feel like I'm missing a chunk where there's like, I could really use some more.
Yeah,
story
but
right there.
I really
true.
wish I could have
want
gone back
more.
and revisited that world and
Right.
done more.
But I don't feel like I was cheated out of it.
When I finished
I feel like
GTA 5,
DLC doesn't have to be wrapping up loose ends. It's just if you
I
like
know,
the world, you
sometimes
want to
it-
go back
yeah.
to it.
when
Well,
I finished
also-
GTA 5, I thought, sorry to interrupt you,
No,
actually.
no.
I thought I was really happy with this story experience. I can't wait to see what they're going to add on, and I can't wait to come back and continue it. And I put it down thinking, I'll be back soon, and I just haven't.
Yeah.
Right, and also for Rockstar and for GTA in particular, it's not always about filling in gaps or tying some of the loose ends together that they may not have addressed in the initial campaign. It's about entirely new stories. Like the Ballad of Gay Tony was so good.
Yeah.
Was so good. It was arguably potentially better than the GTA 4
'cause it learned
campaign.
a lot. Yeah.
And then they also had also good, not as good as Ballad of Gay Tony, but there was The Lost and the Damned. There, these single player new stories that they're able to tell in the same world. And I was very much looking forward to seeing what they would come up with for GTA 5, and then they figured that instead of doing that, they would make a bunch of cool new hats and cars and guns for GTA Online, because that's where people will continue to spend more money on a microtransaction basis rather than shelling out an additional $20 for the expansion.
It's a great exchange rate. You might spend a couple of bucks for millions of dollars in game.
It's true. It's true.
My brain lit up for a second though when you talking about that, because it just occurred to me that we might get like heists and train robberies and stuff in Red Dead.
Oh,
Interesting.
That would be really
that'd
fun.
be fun.
Imagine
I'm
like,
down.
old West like stagecoach
That's
robberies.
exactly
And you have
what
to jump
I'm
off a horse onto a train.
I want to do that.
I want to jump off a horse onto a train.
Give me all of that.
One of my favorite moments in Red Dead Redemption was coming across a girl just tied to the tracks.
Right.
Like, oh, yeah, all right, I'll help you, honey. It was a good time. It was a good time. But you know what kind of DLC I'd really like to see is really sweet underwear to reflect the sweet underwear that you can have in real life. Because our new sponsor is MeUndies, the softest underwear you'll ever wear, and it is true. They're really nice. They're one of those products you just have to experience for yourself. I could tell you all about them all day long, but feeling is believing. Every pair of MeUndies is sustainably sourced and made from micromodal, a fabric that's 3 times softer than cotton. If you're used to buying boring, stupid underwear that's just like black and plain or whatever, MeUndies will change everything, because MeUndies come in all kinds of colors and patterns, and they release new limited edition patterns each month that always sell out. This month's patterns were designed by the legendary 80s clothing brand Cross Colors, with names that live up to their bold design and bright colors, including Increased DPs, Ya Dig, and the OG. And I kind of feel like our set is very like representative of that overall theme. You've got to see them for yourself, and right now you'll save 20% off your first pair and receive free shipping only at MeUndies.com/glitch. There's a reason MeUndies has sold over 5 million pairs to date. You'll feel it when you put them on, and if you don't love your first pair of MeUndies, they're free. Get 20% off your first pair plus free shipping at MeUndies.com/glitch. That's MeUndies.com/glitch. MeUndies have completely taken over my underwear wardrobe.
Really?
If that's a thing. Do you have? Can you call it? Is my
Sure.
under wardrobe?
Under wardrobe.
Personal recommendations. I like the bikini cut. The thong's quite nice. I have a bunch of the boy cuts, but I think the bikini cut is probably my very, very favorite. And I love the patterns. I also love that we get an underwear fairy.
Yeah, no, the underwear fairy is great. And also, I love how the thong make my cheeks look. No, I'm kidding.
I stick with boxer briefs.
Lift
Classic.
and separate.
Yeah. Really keeps everything in nature's pocket.
So, what happens when the underwear fairy comes through the achievement hunter office? How does that work?
Oh, it's like a feeding frenzy.
You
But
guys will just like tear at the underwear and rip.
the main thing is just sorting through to figure out which one of them is the one for Lindsay. It's like, all right, nope. All right, there's that one. Put that on the side. All right, these are all ours.
Yeah, and for those who have never heard of the underwear fairy, you're not alone. MeUndies actually sends a bunch of underwear to the office, and then one of the girls from sales will just come around and just like start handing out underwear. I just love to walk in the office, like hand me a pair of underwear, and then walk out, and I'm like, yes, my day is so much better now.
Your what is so much better?
My day.
It did sound like she said something.
Yeah,
different,
yeah.
What did I say?
It sounded real close to dick.
My dick is so much better now. Well, you know what else is a lot like a feeding frenzy?
What?
E3.
Okay.
It is.
So we have
Well,
something.
this year especially.
Yeah, so I'm gonna call this our E3 cap.
Oh.
But it's thank you. But something very specific to talk about in regards to E3.
That's kind of fresh.
Of course it is.
As
We're
a
living in
dabbing
the
and
future.
panda.
That was absolutely a
dabbing
dabbing
pandas. So E3 is over for another year. We've survived mostly we've survived. I got laid out flat. So E3 wrapped up on Thursday. I spent all of Friday sleeping, and then got on my plane home and spent all Saturday in bed. And then Sunday, my fever kicked in.
Ooh.
So I had a fever for 3, con flu is a very real thing. If you ever go to a convention, there are a couple of very simple rules to follow. Don't shake hands. Be like Gus.
Yeah, be
Don't shake
like
hands.
Gus, or just be antisocial.
Yeah, don't shake hands.
Don't get in the ball.
carry hand sanitizer and use it religiously. Don't get in the ball pit.
Don't touch your
even,
face.
Even though, how long did DashCon give you? They said you could have like what, 15 minutes?
know.
15 minutes in the ball
It
pit.
depended how upset you were.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah, it was,
So
it
you
was
went
an
in
escalating
crying.
scale
You could get like
of ball
a
pit
full
time.
30 minutes.
Yes.
Do we have a ball pit at RTX?
No, that's gross.
Good. So yeah, it's don't touch anyone, no shaking hands, and use hand sanitizer religiously. And also then don't touch your mouth, don't put anything to your mouth with your hands. Yeah. I broke like every one of those rules. And I paid
You
for it.
should know better.
Yeah, so I'm only just starting to recover. But this was a really weird E3. I loved our stream. I loved seeing all the games come through. I thought that was really awesome. But something was really different this year, and it showed. And this is the first year that it has also been a public event where they sold, I think it was 15,000 tickets to the public.
Yes.
And I believe this is ESA's way of trying to increase their revenue for the event, because it's a very, very expensive event to put on. The sheer cost of booth space is astronomical. Just insane. I don't even want to know. YouTube actually hooked us up with our space, but last year we were in a space that was like, it was like 500 square feet maybe, and it would have cost something like $36,000 to just rent that space for the event.
Yeah,
That's a lot of dollars.
It's a lot of dollars, and that's not including.
And it wasn't on the floor.
It wasn't on the floor. It was in like temporary meeting rooms, and that it didn't even come with. It comes with nothing when you rent that space. It comes with the space, like maybe a table in it. It doesn't come with power. You pay extra for power. You pay extra for internet, and you pay by the megabit.
That's insane.
And it's just extraordinarily expensive. So I can see why they're trying to make up revenue, because publishers are leaving. EA no longer has a presence on the floor.
They do their EA Play.
They now have their EA Play event, which takes place conveniently at the same time and is free, and people can go to it, but they do it off-site because it's going to be a lot cheaper for them.
And way off site. It was
way off-site. It was
really?
in Hollywood.
It was up in Hollywood.
It was at
yeah.
the Palladium.
Oh my God.
And
Yeah.
Devolver had that space like right across
They were
the street.
across the street, yeah.
Like literally across the street in a parking lot.
They're
They set
like
up their stuff.
doing
That's
some
what
kind
EA
of
did last year.
anti-E3 sort of thing.
Well, I remember. I guess I don't know. You haven't been to E3 before, but it used to be before they started building all those condos there that like GOG used to always set up over there, or like the indie publishers would set up in that parking lot.
And now they have Indiecade inside.
Yeah, so a lot of publishers are leaving because there's been a shift in the industry in recent years. It's a lot of publishers, a lot of developers are going more and more directly to consumers rather than going through media as the gatekeepers. And so all of the press conferences are streamed to people, and they would rather get consumers out demoing the games, and they'd rather get YouTubers and Twitch streamers. Like EA Play had an entire area set up where streamers and YouTubers could capture their gameplay. They had editing bays on site there, and then you could upload your stuff or just stream it live from the event. And they were focusing on that way more than traditional media because they can reach a wider audience through influencers than they can, and they can also that way like control some of the factors a little bit more and like influence the way that story is told, I suppose. But as a result of publishers doing this, obviously ESA is going to see their revenue go down, so they make it up by adding these public tickets. And that changes the event quite a bit. And it starts to, like, I kind of felt like it was a weird loss of identity this year.
Well, I think that all they did was turn on sales for the public without thinking about how it impacts the design and the flow of the show.
I agree completely.
People who built the booths and publishers who showed up are used to dealing with industry and media, and they did not create any experiences for public, which is a very different thing.
Right, and so there are a lot of people who, the public would pay their tickets, they'd buy them, they'd get themselves to LA, they'd go to this event, they're super excited about it, they get in line, wait for a game, and then watch journalists swan by for an appointment, and then they were upset too. So they also had negative experiences.
Right, and I read a really good article. Greg Miller retweeted this the other day. Disconnected Gamers had a long write-up about their experience. And I mean, the divides was immediate, and you could tell. Like the second I walked up, I knew this was going to happen because every public person had like this neon green badge, and they stood out from every other badge type. It's like, oh well, they're obviously doing that, so you can easily identify them. They're going to be shit on. Honestly, people are going to look down on that and going to assess them and be like, oh, I don't need to waste time with this person.
Yeah, they'll be shunted off to the side in favor of someone who's in the industry, a journalist or media or another exhibitor or a business partner or something, because that is the purpose of the event. That's what the E3 has always been a trade show where the different arms of the industry come together. And so this allowed public gamers in, and then took all the money from them, and then made them second-class citizens.
Yes, absolutely. And I mean, even wearing an exhibitor badge, like when I would approach a booth, I still get sized up. Like people would look at my badge, and since we were doing the YouTube coverage, it says Google, right? And I'd talk to someone like, "Oh, you're with Google, okay?" And then I'd be like, "Well, no, I'm not. Let me tell you who I'm with." Like, I mean, there's a method to these discussions, and it's a very B2B focused event that just threw consumers in without any thought, and didn't warn consumers that, hey, it's not like most other public events that you attend.
Also, the setup was the exact same as last year.
Like all the booth setups.
All the booth setups were. It looked like nothing changed other than there were 15,000 neon badges roaming around, and I saw people shoving and pushing and like trying to get to demos because there are thousands of more bodies that haven't been to E3 before, don't know how it works, don't know what's going on, and no one explained anything to them. Like I had some friends who actually went general admission.
Here's your shitty badge, welcome.
Pretty much.
Have fun.
And they were like, I paid $500 to stand in line for 5 hours, play a game, and leave.
Yeah,
because no one told me how to do it. No one told me what an appointment was. They just got their badge and were let loose. And it was just a traumatic experience for a bunch of people, apparently, which sucks.
Yeah, and I think, and to speak to that, like I think that every day, just to give an example, I think every day the Destiny 2 on PC line filled up 3 minutes after the doors opened.
Yep.
So that meant someone ran to that booth and then spent their entire day at E3 waiting in one line.
Yeah, that happened with Super Mario Odyssey 2, I believe. In fact, the lines on that got capped before the show opened.
Really? I didn't hear that. That's crazy.
Yeah, some people could get on the floor early.
Was that the line that was out the door, or?
I think so, and that it filled up with exhibitors or with media who didn't have appointments who wanted to see it, and they would have to line up there before they let the public in, and then it was capped for the day. Or maybe not for the day, but it was capped.
A lot of them had like rotating caps. Where
By
it's
the
like,
time
check
it
back in an
opened.
hour and we'll have another group line starting up. But yeah, the lines would like wrap. I mean, there's some pretty serious booth sizes too, but they would be wrapped around multiple times.
Yeah, and they didn't have the line management in place to deal with 15,000 additional attendees who were there specifically to get with the idea of getting hands-on every game they could.
Right.
And there were some booths like. Was it Take-Two had a booth technically, as in they had space on the floor. It was a fortress. It was walled
Yeah, it was
off.
a very interesting little like compound. I mean, it even had like wood paneling and like water running down the outside.
Yeah, like don't you wish you could come in?
Very private.
We have armed guards and dogs stay out.
I'm not opposed to, consumers being at this show. I think that, I think it was handled very poorly this year. And I think that the show needs to be fundamentally redesigned if they're going to continue down this path. I'm of the opinion that E3 has traditionally been an industry event and should remain that way. If they want to go consumer, that's fine. They just need to stop doing what they're doing. They need to do it right. They need to rethink all of this.
Yeah, I think one of the things that, so Gamescom, for example, is a huge event and does hundreds of thousands of attendees. They do something that's interesting, though, where they have, I think they have specific areas where there's like a public area, and then there are there's like meeting rooms that are set aside that are a little bit more sane. But they also have media days, like industry days, and then they open it up to the public. So if E3 wants to do that instead, maybe it's a 4-day event and it's 2 days media, 2 days public.
But how much does it multiply the costs to extend E3 by another day?
Yeah.
I don't know. Let's talk to EA, who decided to pull it forward a day and have their press conference on Saturday.
How dare they? Or maybe do something like ticketed. Like I feel like the problem with the general admission was line management and expectation management. Maybe for the general public, you have like tickets that you purchase or wait in line for in a virtual line. So it's like, I know I can play Destiny.
Fast
because I have
pass.
like fast passes.
Yeah, I
Like,
think the only one I saw
something
was
like
the Sony booth.
Yes.
Where you could set up appointment on your phone.
that was sold out the first day though.
Yeah, well, I mean,
But
they
open
had
up more
it.
as they go.
Yeah.
and that's
It was there was rotating. There was
Oh,
like
okay.
you had they didn't just open it at the beginning and it was done.
Oh,
It was
okay.
like you would have further chances throughout the day.
And again, that's just a factor of the size of the show. I mean, not everyone's going to get to see everything.
True.
And that's just the hard reality of it.
But if it's possible, Sony did do it with VR. Like I remember, because I wanted to play the VR Noctis fishing, and they were like, you have to book an appointment on the phone. And so if you're doing that, why can't everybody do that? And I felt bad for all the little neon badges running around like, I didn't get to do anything, and I paid $500, and I'm like, oh,
Yeah, it's not a great
that's not
experience.
fun for you. I'm sorry.
I mean, part of that is too, you gotta, and one of the most interesting parts of E3 is, to me at least, is not the stuff that's happening in the big booths, because you already know about all that. It's all the stuff that's in the back and to the sides, and there's all kinds of little things, littler booths, where one, you can just walk right up to them and start doing something. A lot of the interactive experiences, the lines were like much shorter. I mean, you wait maybe 5-10 minutes and you could get through to them. It's just that if you want to go see Mario, that's just,
It's Mario.
You're going to spend a Mario amount of time in line.
There's tens of thousands of other people who also
Yes.
want to see Mario.
But there were several other things. The Indiecade was great. There's all kinds of little stuff that you can go see, and that's where the more cutting. I saw like a haptic glove that they were working on for VR experiences. We saw some wireless Vive adapters, though we couldn't convince them to talk to us.
They were interested in talking to people to help them bring it to market, I think.
Yeah.
So again, very industry
It's
show. Like a
B2B.
consumer's not going to be interested in that.
No, like I said, I talked to one guy named John that told me to talk to a guy named Andy that did their YouTube thing. So Andy at Direct.
I took a
XR.
photo. I took a photo. Hold on. Vamp.
Brad's trying to
No,
network
I mean
via glitch,
it looked like it
please.
was. You would like it. It had little antenna, or like little.
would like
It had
it.
little ears. It had little fins that were the antenna.
Display link.
Display
Until-
Link XR.
That's it.
Until they're
Which is
cat
odd
ears,
because
I don't think we've reached.
I'm sure you
peak
could put
VR.
stickers on it.
True.
It was Display Link XR, which is an odd choice to call something XR when it's for VR.
You know.
Maybe I guess it's.
It
like
extends
XM
your
radio,
reality.
I guess.
Ooh, there you go.
It
But
looked
when
like-
can I get twitchy cat ears?
We could just put those on. No problem. We'll 3D print you.
All right.
But hey, yeah, Andy for Display Link XR. If you want to send us one, but it was. They were like, yeah, one of the guys over there just built this one for the show. Like there was no production model or anything. They were just like slapping
just
them together.
prototypes?
Yeah,
Slapping them together.
and it was
So-
working. I mean, I watched. I stood there and watched it for a while.
But it was frustrating. I talked to one guy there. I was like, "What kind of latency do you have with this thing?" He goes, "None to low." I was like,
What
Okay,
does that
well,
mean?
none is impossible.
"Do you have a number?" I mean,
Well,
I look at their
volume.
website. I see it's 3 to 5 milliseconds. Like, why couldn't he tell me that? It was
You
just,
didn't know.
it's
So
weird.
a lot of
none
the
to
things
low.
you've been saying, Ashley, about like ways that E3 could evolve. Polygon had a really interesting article come out this morning where they interviewed a lot of like people the public that showed up to the show, media, the industry, and the like. And kind of a lot that came out of it were a lot of what you were saying, where you have a day where it's just media and press that can come in and try things, and then the public can roll in and try things out. But I guess one of the issues is that the ESA has a contract in place with the Los Angeles Convention Center through 2020 that doesn't really allow them to expand for the current location that they have. And on top of that, the venue is so booked that under the current contract, E3 can't switch its dates or even add on to them.
Wow.
So through 2020, it's going to be a little packed.
Having organized an event or two in my day, I can tell you that is entirely true. That's very common. Normally event space is booked out 5 or more years in advance, and moving dates or adding dates is usually impossible. It's tough.
Yeah, well, and also there is the additional complication that the booths that are built are extravagant, and they take an entire week to construct. So they actually have the convention center for the entire week leading up, and then a couple days afterwards, because that's how long it's going to take to get everything in and get it back out.
That's also one of the most fun times to walk through if you can get in, but to walk around with and look at all the booths going up.
I love seeing them go up. I also love being in one of the halls when it hits with 5 p.m. on Thursday, and so there's the lights go up, the ugly lights go on. They just slowly push everyone out, and then the walls all drop, and you just see like the beautiful carnival of illusion that is E3 just deflates.
It's like the last day of school. Everyone just takes their papers and throws it and runs out.
But you also get to see those secret meeting rooms that you're not allowed into, like the triple-walled, like you only have to have an appointment with an appointment with an appointment to get into them.
I think next year I want to bring a grappling hook to get to all those sweet second floors they've built in the booth.
Oh, yeah,
Hook
that's
you up
second
with one.
floor.
We got one.
A grappling hook?
Well, we used to have 2, but
What?
I don't want to talk about what happened in the first one.
What?
Yeah.
What'd you do?
What happened in the first one?
I didn't do it. I wasn't there.
It's on the top of stage 5.
All right.
It's
I don't
still
want to.
Is it actually?
It may
Really?
have punched a couple holes in the roof that John Mace had to. I was not present for that. I will.
Was
Not that I would have stopped
was
it.
that
I would have
in-
been the first up the wall.
Was that in what is now the no room or?
No, I think it's the back corner.
Okay.
Who keeps giving you things to damage things?
The internet.
All right.
The internet gives them. I don't want to end on a low note though.
Okay.
I feel like we did spend a fair amount of time complaining about E3, and we're actually very, very fortunate in our setup. We had a spacious area. The developers came to us for a 3-day live stream. YouTube took wonderful care of us, like getting us that space and promoting our show and feeding us. We had catering. We had bagels and not nearly enough sandwiches.
But they were there.
They were there.
They were there.
We had coffee every day and sodas. So we're actually very, very fortunate in our setup. But I did feel bad for a lot of the people who came to the show and had a less than stellar experience, especially if this is your first E3. Like, there's something mythical about coming to E3 and having experienced that for my first time at E3 being so crazy and awesome. I'd like everyone to have a good experience, and I don't feel like this year was a great experience for anyone on any side.
So
Absolutely.
you would not recommend it to a non-media attendee.
Not
Even before
yet.
this year, no.
Yeah, no.
I would let them sort it out before they have some issues to figure out before it's going to be a good experience for public attendees.
Well, do you think that is a responsibility that at this point that is going to be on the E3, or is it going to be on the individual booths like Sony to figure out how do we manage?
Well, they need to
I
get
think-
direction. The E3 needs to figure out what they're doing, and then that needs to be better communicated down to each exhibitor, who then take action on the direction from up top.
Now, E3 it would be great if E3 would come up with an app that would just collate all that for you, and you could just ask for appointments through a centralized app. But
Yeah.
if that'll happen, I don't know.
But to end on a high note, because there are a lot of really great things about E3, what was your favorite either game or moment or something from E3 this
The guy crying during Mario plus Rabbids.
It was so
It was
good.
so great.
Yeah.
It was so sweet. It was just so heartfelt.
It's definitely the most emotional thing that happened, I think, yeah.
I'm trying to think. I had a couple of weird little like choky uppy moments.
Choky uppy.
Seeing A Way Out, just because I loved Brothers so much that it immediately, like, it was a very Pavlovian response where they were like, "It's from the Brothers Gun." I was like, no. I had the exact same response to Ori and the Will of the Wisp.
I thought were gonna lose it.
So those are things.
You're losing it again already just thinking about it.
So those are things I'm excited about. Moving along.
Well, if anybody knows me, they know that I'm excited about
Look at
it.
him crying. He's so happy.
Did you guys see what his team got him?
What did his team got
They
him?
sent him a shirt of the picture of him crying that says, "Don't cry, Ubisoft man." I sent it to Stab. I'll see. if
Don't
he can
cry,
pull it up.
Ubisoft, man. That's so cute. I don't know. I cried over a lot of things this E3. Actually, it was surprisingly only 3 things. I cried over Shadow of the Colossus. I cried
You
over.
did. There were tears.
There were legit tears because it's one of my favorite games of all time, and the soundtrack is beautiful, and just the game is beautiful. I cried over Kojima because that was an unexpected experience. And Anthony is actually releasing the video of it today.
Really?
Yeah. There's a.
Wait, what happened?
I met Kojima at the.
Oh,
YouTube gaming
don't cry,
party,
Ubisoft,
and
man.
He's like one of
Oh,
my.
did you fangirl out?
No, I didn't. I was
held it
very
together?
respectful, and
Okay,
I met him. I said, thank you for your work. I said that you are my hero. And then he walked away. I turned around and I clutched onto a pole and started sobbing. And I waited until I was clear. And then it was just like, because it's him and Miyamoto are like my 2 video game heroes. So crossed one off the list, and it was unexpected because Eddie was like, Mika, don't freak out. Kojima's behind you. And I was like, what do you mean?
Don't look now.
Like, don't look now.
You would have had a great time at RTX Australia.
Yeah.
We beamed him with a boomerang.
We,
Oh my God.
we never hit him.
We don't know
No,
that.
it just went near him as far as we can tell.
Y'all.
He had
They
a
were
private
foam.
booth and it fell in there. It could have landed right on
Yeah.
his noggin. We don't know.
Y'all.
I didn't throw it. I like that I have all these stories where I'm like,
I didn't do
It wasn't me.
No,
It
no,
wasn't
no,
me.
You're just trouble adjacent.
Definitely.
Trouble
not me.
adjacent. But then the third one was getting to experience Destiny 2 with Deej. He took me to the Bungie booth and I got to play the PC game and then we played Crucible together and it was just a really cool experience. And then he said that I made Warlocks proud and that's when I got choked up. I got really choked up at that.
How about you, Ryan?
Damn it, I had something a second ago, then I forgot what it was. Oh, you know what? The most interesting to me, obviously we are a company very inspired by Microsoft in a lot of ways, so people may take this as fanboying in some way, but I was really just, from a technical aspect, interested to hear how many developers, even when we weren't on camera, were just talking about how whatever they're doing with the Xbox One X is streamlining and making their code more efficient across all the platforms.
Yeah, they said
You
the,
nerd.
PC.
they said the
I know, I'm nerding out about it.
they said the debugging tools on that platform were so robust that it was helping them isolate issues that were even affecting their PC builds.
Yeah.
And it was
Well, that's
making everything
nice.
better.
So I'm really interested to see what that being available now to developers leads to. Like
Yeah.
a lot more efficient. I'm hoping that means a lot of indie titles like 7 Days to Die, things like that are now trying to work their way onto consoles come in a lot better prepared for console launches.
Better
And I-
optimized.
And I want to highlight something you said. Like, developers kept telling us that off camera.
Yeah.
Like, we were just talking, like, shooting the shit, asking whatever. And they kept saying, like, it wasn't just one or two. It was
Yeah.
like almost every person who was working on something on Xbox One X said that. It was
Basically,
awesome.
anybody that had been playing around with a dev kit was like, this thing's great for development.
yeah.
That's cool.
So we'll see. I mean,
Nerd.
it's a nerd thing, but that's going to help so many other titles. Just stuff that is now making it to consoles that, like, any of those big
Like
on PC
Battlegrounds?
things. Battlegrounds, 7 Days to Die, Ark, all of those, well, at least Ark and 7 Days are the two that jump to mind because they both came to console icky. They did not come strong. They were like struggling for life onto the console world. And I'm hoping that now having more powerful hardware and more robust debugging tools means that a lot of these transitions are made easier.
We also can't forget about the sweet sitar that was being played during the Sony conference.
That was a sweet situation.
And the waterfalls that they had going,
So, to speak to Battlegrounds again for a second.
Yeah,
Goodness,
what you got?
guys.
They tweeted a graph this morning showing that after they did a server-side update, and then after their update, they tweeted a graph of average frames per second on the client end. And the client end went up significantly. So if you look at the blue line, that's their average frames per second on the
Whoa.
client end going up from just under 20 to about 25, 26 or so.
That's an
So
impressive
it's
gain.
high FPS, average FPS, low FPS. I'll send this to broadcast in a second.
Sweet gains,
So
though.
they're making strides.
The spike in lows is particularly
Yeah.
interesting as well.
Yeah. So it's they're making progress, and it's it'll get there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know what other games are getting there, or they're already here, only just here, is ARMS.
Yes. Oh, wait, hold on. That was great.
Creepin' Jack.
Yeah.
So ARMS came out Friday, the day after E3.
Oh, wait. Me. Did it work?
Too early.
No, okay, do one more.
There you go.
So this is the new game. It's a new first-party title from Nintendo for the Nintendo Switch. This is their new entry into the fighting genre that's not Smash Brothers
Proud of them. Or Pokken.
or Pokemon Tournament. Yeah, they're doing their work
doing the
getting
fighting
into
thing,
the
yeah.
fighting genre, aren't they? But
Important.
ARMS is a little bit non-traditional in that it is a 3D arena, so different than Smash, more like Pokemon Tournament. It's a 3D arena, but also your arms are all detached and they go punch, punch.
Unless you're Twintel and
did you
there's
see
your hair.
did you see the lore behind it that Nintendo released?
No,
Yeah,
it's the lore.
Helix is like deep and messed
Oh my
up
God,
or
wait,
something.
Is Helix the one that had the crush on Twintel?
Did
He was in like 6th grade or something. Yeah, it was really cute.
All I know is that Nintendo's making these weird springy arm people freaky, and it's getting deep.
Okay, I'm sorry. The springy arm people were already freaky. I like thinking they're adorable too.
Can we like set up a Switch and have a live round right now?
Not right this. We can
fight.
do it. We can do it after this for sure. But so the premise of the game, I guess, is that it's a fighting game. It takes place in different 3D arenas. It has motion controls that are optional. You don't have to use the motion controls, but there are some things that you can't actually do without motion controls.
Such as?
You can, if you have the motion controls, if you have the two Joy-Cons in your hand instead, you can actually spread your arms out and try and reach around a shield if someone is blocking or defending, and you have better control over where the punches go. So there are improvements if you're using motion control, but it's not mandatory. In fact, I played for a while without motion controls last night, and it felt fine. It did feel like I was missing a little something, but if you want to be lazy and not be jumping around like a crazy person, you can totally do it.
AKA
That's how I play it.
non-pro.
I feel like pros
non-pro.
would play. Like if you, I feel like this is actually
there's-
going to start getting competitive, like Splatoon, and I feel like people will mostly play handheld or with a pro controller.
If there's an advantage to not doing the pro controller, people will do it.
True, you're
'Cause
right.
One
you're
person will do it with the handheld, and I'll have an advantage, and then everyone will be.
So now we're just going to see a bunch of esports streamcasts of people going.
We're gonna see.
Everyone's gonna be-
They're
everyone's
gonna
gonna
have
be like this.
giant jacked arms. Well,
Or they're just gonna have their elbows all wrapped up.
Oh my god.
the problem is, you don't. It's not a big problem. It's stupid. It's silly, but they haven't really made the motion controls work in such a way that you're like, I look badass. I'm not like MMA. Like, it's
No,
like,
you look like a
No, well, I mean, sure, but also that
Arms.
might just be you, Ryan.
could be. Maybe people can make
Right?
it
Do
look
you
good.
game like this with your tongue sticking out, going?
I mean, when I'm playing Nintendo games that requare motion controls,
So here's
sure.
You have
the
to blap.
big first question. Big first question about arms. Who's your main?
Twintel.
Mechanica.
Here's my
if
big-
it's not Mechanica, you're wrong.
You play Mechanica?
My big first
Really?
question about
Mechanica's
arms.
so cute. Okay.
Okay.
Is it worth $60? Does it have
No,
enough content?
not at all.
Because it doesn't look
No,
like it.
okay.
I don't want to play this
So,
game.
Okay, so maybe that's the real first question. Is it worth it? Right now, I would say probably not, unless you are like an extreme enthusiast. There's like 8, 10 characters to start off with. They're gonna add more. They're gonna add more arenas, more maps, more game types,
For
more
free or for monthsies?
for free, and that's the distinguishing thing. So it's not worth $60 right now, but I think that, like Splatoon, it will get better with age. It will improve, and then it will be worth $60. It's just not necessarily yet. If that makes sense.
Also, the game.
This is a,
Like
this
they
is
have
a sweet,
multiple game
this.
modes. Though.
this is a sweet trailer. Hold on, this
Okay.
is an experience trailer. You're gonna watch, and then they're gonna punch.
I thought we were about to get the origin story of some of these arms people. Like all these guys are going to walk into a room and they're just going to lop their arms off.
Let me explain it to you. I found it. This is
you
what
found it?
this is what I
Alright.
was going to try to say earlier, but I couldn't find it.
They're mecha people.
So there was a Japanese social media campaign that has hinted at the story. And this is in the Kotaku review for ARMS. The story is literally, one day people just woke up with extendable spring arms. Nobody knows why. Some of those folks decided to use their arms to make money fighting. That is the backstory.
How do
Sorry?
we explain
I mean-
Twintel though? Her arms are fine. It's just her hair.
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not.
All right.
Look, in a
I'm
world
just
where
asking.
some
She
people
was-
just woke up with spring arms, some people just woke up with spring hair.
She fell asleep in the salon.
There you go.
Makes perfect sense as much
Absolutely.
as any of the rest of it.
I mean, the whole premise is ridiculous, but that's one of the things that Nintendo does so well. Is pardon me.
Yeah. I mean, if that's
I'm dying.
the case,
Just-
dying.
how
I'll
come
just die
no one
for a
in the
second.
audience has spring arms? Surely there are some people that chose not to weaponize
Oh,
them.
maybe it's only some people woke up with spring arms? I don't know. There's so many questions.
No, in this,
Everyone's spring arms are different.
It's like Lost.
they did imply in this trailer, if you take it as canon, that they can transform back to regular arms.
Nintendo has come out and said they're hoping to provide more backstory for ARMS in future updates. So maybe that's some of the DLC.
I mean, look,
story.
that's cool, but I don't know why we need more backstory.
Yeah.
I mean, about some of the individual characters, sure. I like the cute little.
Okay,
the
you
cute
don't
little
look like that
character
playing
building
this
bits.
game. No one looks like that playing this game.
The game's producer even came out and said, if you really want to know why they have stretchy arm, the real answer is because Nintendo.
Yeah,
That makes sense. There you go.
It's just
Just
fun.
lean into that.
I don't care too much about how or why they came to have springy arms. The point is they got them now, and they're punching with them.
And one of them has a robot doggo, and he's a police officer.
Yes.
And he too is a robot. So
I think it's Bark and Bite.
bark and bite. Yep.
Fighting crime in a future time.
Twintel
and
is an actress who is French.
What was that?
And then there's Mechanica, who's like the little girl who actually reminds me a lot of Boo from Monsters
that
Inc.
line.
Yeah.
It was Cops, is what it was called.
Yeah.
What was?
Cops. It was an old
It's
animated
like Cops
show.
with like a date, I think.
No, it was just Cops. Fighting crime in a future time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were like.
It was like
cyborg cops.
COPS. It stood for something.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
There's not Genji.
right. Not yeah. There's your ninja type. There's your lady, your quickie lady with the ribbons, who's basically Princess Peach, but not.
Ribbon dancer, sure.
And there's your basic girl, your basic dude, and then you've got like the ninja, and you've got like the weird, wacky Gumby man, and
Helix.
you've got Helix, yes, and you've got like all these different types of characters, and they're all obviously they've all got different stats as well. Like Mechanica is kind of a heavyweight. She's a cute little girl who's a heavyweight because she's in a mech. And
Like Diva.
Sure.
Yeah. You have not Genji. You have not Diva.
Is Japan running out of stereotypes for fighting games?
Never.
Yeah, we just repeated like 6.
That's a whole nother discussion for a whole nother day, Ryan.
All right, fair.
But the point is, it's fun.
Yes.
It's not.
It's not $60 fun. Yeah,
Not yet.
I played this at RTX Sydney, and I only played a couple of rounds. We had to use motion controls, and it wasn't the full game, obviously. And at the time, I thought, I can't imagine playing motion controls for more than like 1 or 2 rounds, because you do get winded after a while.
Sure.
And it didn't seem like it was going to be robust enough. Like, talk to me about single player?
Okay, so single player is limited. There's like a Grand Prix.
Yeah. It's 10 matches and 10 different levels of Grand Prix that you can do.
Yeah, and apparently the final boss in the Grand Prix is going to be the first DLC character.
Oh, he's cool.
Yeah, so he's real sweet.
So is that like Mario Kart thing? You just like
Yeah.
compete against AI?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's
So
also
that's a
kind of
single
like
player.
Smash Brothers, where it's difficulty 1 through 10, and that stays throughout the whole Grand Prix. So if you pick difficulty 5 in the beginning, you're playing a difficulty 5 Grand Prix.
Okay.
Yeah, and it does occasionally mix it up. So normally they're just normal matches, but sometimes it might be against 2 opponents, and it's just like a 3-person free-for-all, or you might have one where the point is to break as many targets as possible, and whoever breaks more wins that match. Or it might be volleyball, where you have to punch a ball and try and keep it in the air so it doesn't hit the ground on your side, because then it'll explode, and then you don't lose. Then you don't get points.
Mika
Does not like that mode.
The camera is like right behind you, and it's the worst. It does not move. You're just staring at ass the entire time, and yes. And it's so hard to hit the freaking ball. It's so stupid. I hate volleyball.
I do think the
volleyball so
camera on the volleyball is my least favorite of the cameras. There's also basketball where you dunk each other.
Oh, you dunk each other like you're the ball?
The point is to like grab the other person and dunk them, and that's how you get points.
That's awesome.
So that's a lot of fun. And then there are a couple of you can end up in 2v2 matches. The 2v2s are quite fun. There's actually a tether between you and your partner.
Oh.
And so you can only be so far away from each other, and if you get knocked like all over the place, then it's gonna drag your partner around as well, and they're not gonna like you very much.
That scene from Gladiator.
So there is a lot of variety. I'm looking forward to seeing new game types they come up with, because I quite like the basketball. I think that's fun. I like the target practice one. There's also a 1 versus 100 kind of mode where you just have to try and defeat 100 opponents in a row,
Like it's
and they
Smash.
get increasingly difficult as you go along, and they'll just like keep popping up through the level, and you just have to keep punching them down. And that one's quite fun. I didn't get very far even on the easiest mode, so that's going to be a challenging one. But also, I suck at the game. But the real fun is actually playing a multiplayer. I played it online last night, and on the one hand, I'm glad that Nintendo doesn't have voice support yet, because most of my personal commentary was, well, that's just embarrassing.
I thought you say you'd be swearing like a sailor.
What is the teabag equivalent? Because every game has one.
I'm using motion controls.
I'm using tilt controls.
Oh, is that it? Yeah,
I'm
you're
using
using
tilt
tilt
controls.
I didn't really see. At least I didn't find options to talk in the game, but I did find if you like push one of the buttons, your little icon will
That's the
bounce
taunt.
and like rotate.
There's always a taunt.
I used it more as clapping.
Okay.
It's like yay.
They probably thought you were mocking them.
Maybe
Yeah.
Because
possibly.
no one claps for other people.
Yeah,
No,
I would
That's
take
all
it as
I hate.
mocking.
Yeah.
True.
So what I did, I was playing with just random people from the community. I tweeted out, it's just like, add me, I need to versus some people, and I'm worried about going into the big deep ocean.
The big scary world?
So I just created a lobby, and anyone could join it, and the way it works is actually pretty cool because you can get a bunch of people in, and it's first to 20 points, and you get a point for losing, you get 3 points for winning, and so it'll randomly mix and match you in different game types, different modes against different people in the overall pool. So you're almost never without a match to play, and all the matches are happening simultaneously, but you're not in all of them. You're just in your own match, doing your own thing, trying to earn your points. So it's kind of a cool way to keep it going. And then when you finish your match and you come back out to the lobby, you can see what everyone else is doing and who is currently winning in what type of game mode they're in, and your icon's floating around, and then it'll float up to another person, and then they match up.
Also, the music is fantastic.
The music is great. So it's a lot of it is very well thought out, and I think ARMS has legs.
Oh, God. Are we going to end on that note?
Bye, Ryan. Bye.
I think I'll wait until the price comes down and they add some of this free content.
Yeah,
The price will come down?
I don't know if the price will come down, but at the very least,
Nintendo way.
No, it's not.
at the very least, I think if you're not determined to have it right now, if you are determined to have it right now, just know that it is light on content for now. If you're not determined to have it for now, wait. There will be content that will make it worth it, I think. And there are some rewards for the early adoption, like as you earn those different points, and then you're able to spend them on different punchy things.
Yeah, but it's a weird,
different punchy fists.
It's a very weird gotcha system to get the gloves, because I thought I was gonna go in with the money that I got and just pick a glove, but then it was like you had to do target practice, and then you like open boxes, and then it unlocked for not just the character that I picked.
It is a little bit
very
convoluted
strange,
in that the way, so you play these matches and you earn a point, and then you store them up, and then it will say you need 30 points to unlock this type of glove. You need this many to unlock this type of glove, and so on. So I think it was like 30, and then it was 100 and 200. So the requirements do ramp up significantly to get the better, more powerful gloves. But then, yeah, it would put you into like a target practice thing, and you have to try and punch down a bunch of targets, and then it would give you something based on how well you did in the mini game. So it's not a direct, oh, I want this glove for this character, I'm spending 30 thumbs ups on it. It's
still like a loot box system.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still loot boxy.
Question, is there a microtransact around that?
No, not from what I've seen.
Okay, so you can't buy the currency.
I haven't seen anything like that in the game. As far as I understand, it's $60 up front. Everything in the game is going to be available, is included in that $60.
Okay.
Also, I didn't realize until I
Including
went
feature DLC.
into getting new gloves that gloves have elemental abilities.
I was playing against someone, and I was playing against another Mechanica, and and was getting my ass handed to me because they had these crazy gloves, and I was like, why don't I have these gloves? They're electrified. They're super sweet. And turns out that there's fire, there's ice, there's electricity,
and then there's just physical
and then there's punchy.
piercings. Yeah.
Can you hot swap between gloves to counter?
Between matches.
Between matches you can. During a match, you're committed to, you can have a different glove on your right and left hand.
Can you see what they're doing going into the match with?
Yes.
And change your loadout at that point?
Yes, you can.
But then they'll change their loadout too, won't they?
Yeah,
I mean,
you've got.
That's part of it.
But you can see, for example, I went into a match with another Mechanica, and I know that Mechanica's a little bit slower, can hover in the air, but is overall not going to move as quickly as the other characters, and so I got 2 hammers. It was awesome. I'm like, bam, bam, bam.
Also, one of the gloves that Twintel has is a parasol, and so if you have one parasol, you can hover a little bit, and if you have 2 parasols in your hand and you jump, you can fly around the map a little bit.
How do you fight with a parasol?
Smack them.
You punch with it. There's also, there are a lot of cool little things too, you can actually, if you have heavier punchy gloves, you can, I'm using all the really correct
Very
terminology.
technical terms,
There's
punchy
probably
gloves.
someone at Nintendo that's just, that's
Cringing right now.
Yeah, because I'm sure all of Nintendos are the biggest fans of Glitch Please. But you can parry, if you're fighting someone and they're punching something at you, you can actually punch back at them, and if you have a heavier glove, it will knock theirs out of the way, which is great since I'm playing a heavier character.
And
So
if
yours win.
If you have
typically.
electric and it electrifies, if you punch their glove, it'll put their thing, like their arm out of commission for a few seconds.
Yeah, it'll like knock it down, and then you have a chance. If you knock both their arms out of commission, you can do like critical hits. You can also build up, I call it yellow juice, by landing hits and stuff. And then when you fill up your little triangle all the way, then you can unleash a super attack.
And you punch them a bunch of times in the face.
Like some kind of golden shower.
Yes,
Okay.
just like a golden shower.
Got it.
So I think that I think it's a great start to the game. I think this could be a really awesome new franchise for them, unless it goes, the way of, I don't get the feel from this like I got from Wii Sports that it's a great pack-in, but I would never want to play this.
I forgot Wii Sports existed.
Yeah, a lot of people did, but that's
everyone
because
owned
it it felt kind of pack-in-y. It felt like here's a great tech demo, but it's not like I don't know that I care about it as a game specifically.
Like 1-2 Switch.
Yeah, which also
That
cost.
was a bunch of tech demos.
Yeah, which
bunch
was
of tech
also
demos. And also-
$60.
No, it was 30, wasn't it?
No,
was
was
it
not.
60? Fuck.
It was 40 or 50. I don't think it was the full 60.
We'll be faster.
But it
We'll
was
be faster.
expensive.
It was it was 50 when it first launched. I
Okay,
don't know
so
if that's changed at all.
still,
since then.
that's like 20 too
It's
much.
still $50 right now.
Yeah, which is just silly. But
I would say it's 30 too much.
overall, good game. If you're not obsessed with the idea of having it now, wait. Some of the DLC will come out. There will be more to do, and then it will be more fun. Then you're also starting on a back foot. But if you're not playing to compete, then what
You
do you
won't
care?
be alone in that either.
Yeah.
Yeah, there'll
Yeah.
be plenty of people that are doing that.
All right, so I think we're done for the day.
Good, because I'm hungry.
I'm gonna go crawl under a desk somewhere and sleep.
Give me a cheeseburger.
But let us know what you thought of ARMS in the comments. If you liked this episode of Glitch, please give us a thumbs up on whatever video platform you're watching it on. Or if you're on iTunes, please leave us a nice review and let everyone know that you like the show. And we'll be back next week with another episode of
Punch me in
the
the
Punchy
face.
Punchy Show.
Bye.
Bye, guys.